And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Large Scale Consolidated Live. Here with Andrew once again, this time on his channel.
We are?
I think we are.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on my channel. Let me check with Canadian Railroads. Are we on my channel? I think we are.
And we have another guest lined up for everybody, but once again, we like to have the routine of reading who's here already in the chat. So let's see whose name I can wreck today. That is the question. So let me go through this. We all know I can wreck names, right, Andrew?
Absolutely. You have to take a P test afterwards.
So tonight we have Canadian Railroads, Train Brothers Railway, and then we have Paul Turry, G-Scale Trains, and Ethan. We have Sean Fields, Kyle Kuiper. Don't laugh at me. You get it wrong too sometimes. Darren Warren, Stefan, and then we have Ken Hoffman, and we have Cody Reisinger, and who else showed up here? If I missed you, just say hi. Timothy Kennard. Taya, yep, she's with the BTO. For those who don't know Taya, she goes to a lot of train shows. Zachary, Ted, I see a lot of different people tonight, so that's good. I'm glad some new people are showing up, and so I think we should bring our guest up.
All righty.
And
hello, Jonathan.
Welcome, hello. Jonathan, everybody.
How's everyone
doing? How are you doing tonight, Jonathan?
Good. Just got done trick-or-treating with the kids and made it back in time for the show, so that's always good.
Got a bit of a sugar high going now?
Oh, yeah, and some energy drink, too, so, just stack it on.
Do you have any leftovers?
No, not with 3 kids, man.
Sean's more of a jelly bean guy, unless you got the mint Kit Kats. He likes those, too.
Yeah. I like any kind of candy, actually.
Yeah.
That's my problem. Anyway, everybody, welcome Jonathan to the show. And Jonathan, we like to kick off the show by asking you, how did you get into the world of model trains?
Well, the role I'm in now with making trains is definitely kind of grew as it went, but I started out in model trains like when I was in 4th grade. I got one of those LGB sets, the little St. George for the what are they called? The stands, engines with the 3 cars, one of those starter sets, because it's the only one I couldn't kill. I killed N-scale engines, I killed HOs. Yeah, they just didn't hold up to some crazy kid that built everything out of Legos and connects and bridges that collapsed and tried to pull the dog, whatever I could get my hands on. Just if it didn't pull it, just add more weight, right? Then it would pull it. Sure.
Absolutely.
What could go wrong? And I never killed that LGB. It still runs. That thing is killer. That's bulletproof. I will let my kids play that any day of the week. So yeah, and then stopped for a while, went through high school and my early 20s and kind of picked it up in my, I think it was like late 20s. I picked it up again because I found other engines. There was a local guy that had a bunch of cool engines, and I just had to have them because I didn't know anybody made SD45s or -9s. And then I started looking like, well, what is out there? I haven't looked since I was a kid. So I started looking and it was all downhill from there. Then I had to buy a -9 and then an SD45. And then I found some guys selling stuff in Oregon. So I drove into Portland, which I think is like 14 hours from me, to get a train collection.
Wow.
So loaded it up in my old Chevy Malibu and just to the ceiling and trunks full of track hanging out the back, bungee cord shut.
That sounds perfectly safe to me.
Yeah. And so that's where it all started. And now I go to Canada to get engines and cars. all my container cars came from Canada, and drove up there. Oh man, when the train show was in Portland, when it came there, when was that 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Yeah, when the
DMGRC,
National Garden Railroad
Convention.
Yeah, I made it a trip. Just said we're going to go to Canada, get 40 cars, and go to a show. So we did. Yeah, dragged my buddy along, and yeah, it was fun. And then started making more and more trains and designing my own engines because no one made the engines I really wanted. So I decided I would give it a shot.
Yeah, that seems to be one of our issues in G scale is we don't quite have the selection that you do in smaller scales.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where the DD40 came from, and the FP45, and the whatever you call this, the Tier 4 engine that I made with the raised middle section. Nobody makes a modern engine. I mean, the closest you can get is a -9 or ST70 if you can find one.
Yeah, I believe the model designation on that is SD70AH for the Tier 4.
Yeah, yep, AH Tier 4. And that one has the raised middle section for the extra emission stuff. And so somehow I designed mine.
It's my mother trying to call me.
Middle section so that instead of notching down right here, it just stays level with the top of the engine. And it's just a removable section like that with the screw mounts on it.
Oh, okay.
And then most of the factory detail it's pretty good. And then you can see inside, and you can actually access all your electronics and put a battery in there if you'd want. And it just slips back on. And then it's got the slip-on radiator on the back. So instead of being an SD70 like that, you've got the flared 4 radiator with the larger radiator in the back with I think that's an air compressor back there, I think, or something. On the real engine. And then a different cab.
Somebody's asking what size curves does that run on?
What size what?
Curves does that run on?
Oh, it'll run on the same one that the SD70 does. So I think they advertise like an 8-foot or 10-foot.
Yeah, I would highly recommend going 10-foot rather than 8.
Yeah. And this one has the body mount Katie, so 10 is definitely required for this one.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then
Did I see plates on the bottom of the trucks?
Yeah, I made those because I don't like the bogie to swing very bad. Actually that one does swing, but yeah, this one has a plate on it that's it's recessed so the holes can you can fit the regular screws that come on the motor block, and then it stops that bogie from swinging.
Oh, okay.
I think it has better traction. I haven't had a chance to test it, but with that bogie swinging in the back, it doesn't have a lot of weight pushing down on it. It just kind of flops. And if you make it lock with the rest of them, at least it'll transfer a little bit of weight back there, is my reasoning for doing that. Yeah. And then it doesn't have the problems with it kind of flopping off the track too. Sometimes when you go through a switch, it just stays on the track a little better.
So there's a top cover that comes off too. Could you do some type of plate on the top to... Would that do anything additional or no?
I don't think so. And it'd have to it's really tight clearances up there against the engine because of this little raised section for that flywheel that's in there.
That it is, yeah.
So there's not a lot of room. But
just curious.
The plate is just this guy here. So it has these little indents that go in the screw holes. When you take the screws out, these will slide down in it. And then the factory screws sit flush with it.
Oh, sweet.
New Jersey or NSNJ rail fan says the rearmost fan is for the dynamic brake.
Oh, cool.
So there's your answer.
That's good to know. It's always fun to learn stuff about engines that I had no idea, because to me it's just a piece of detail, and I put it on there because the real one had it. And so anytime I learned what it was actually for is awesome. So I'm always happy for that.
And Nico says, nice 6 for a bad design.
Yeah, those USA trains kind of get a bad rap for that. Yeah. And then this is what an unfinished, the radiator 3 fan radiator looks like. The factory fans go here, and then the big rear fan goes here. I supply the big fan in the back, and then you just take the factory ones off of your engine and slide them in there. And then it just slips over the top.
And that's resin printed, right?
Yeah, this one is resin. That's why the detail's so fine. And the lines are nice and crisp, even the ones here. See if I can get it to focus on it. This one's full of dust.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like you made it pretty hefty too. I mean, it looks like a pretty good wall thickness on it.
Yeah, this one is really thick. This one's actually a solid one. I've since hollowed this one out, but the wall thickness is still really high because it just took so much resin.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, but it's a hefty part.
If it doesn't have them print lines into it, then
no, you don't see the print lines on a printer that does the SLA, the laser printing, or the ones with the light that you print out a UV light.
Oh wow, that looks pretty smooth. Yeah.
This one's just primered. I didn't sand this one at all. So, and the lines you see going this way are, you can't really feel them. They're more from just doing one layer of primer. Once you paint it, you don't see it at all.
Nice.
Yeah, so they take a pretty large resin printer, kind of like the cab for the FP45. So this is printed in one piece. This one's printed out of resin also.
That's one piece.
Yeah, so, and on the way down here, I snapped off my hoses.
Whoops. Being
a spaz, trying to pack too much crap at once. But then I just print a new one out and then glue it back on. So, and
nice.
The printers I have are a Epax. What is that one called? I think it's X10, and then the 178. And then I also use a Pneumatic Phenom, and then my FDM printer is the one that print out of the filament. I have an Ultimaker 3 and a Creality CR10 S4, and the other one is a Sidewinder X1.
Well, it sounds like you got a collection of printers just like trains.
So
when one's broken, you can use the other.
which one did you use to print what you have in your hand there?
The Pneumatic Phenom will do it, and so will the Epax. The Epax is probably my favorite one. The Phenom was the first big printer to come out, and then so I got that one, and it'll print. The first DD40 I made was on that, and it print every piece that I needed. I don't know if I have a piece of that one, but the middle section of the DD40 is about, well, I can show you, because these are all one piece too. So this is all printed as one piece too, which is pretty large print. Okay. So I'll stack a bunch of these in there like this, and they will all
print them on end.
Yeah, and print them on end. It has a really tall build volume, and same with these. I can print these in one go. I angle them a little bit so that the supports, it can't print in thin air. So it prints basically upside down. There's a plate that holds it from the top and then dips it in the goo, and then the light shooting shines up from the bottom and cures the resin against the existing part as it builds it.
Have you ever say you're like right at the edge of your height? Have you ever printed on a 45-degree angle to kind of get that?
Oh yeah,
squeak out that little bit of extra length you need in
all the time. This is how I did these first before I got the Epax printer. Is I'd print these on a 45 and then take up more of the build volume that way. And this is kind of what the support structure looks like. This is a bunch of fans. So they've got supports that hold the fans. So when you print them, they have something to kind of rest on, and then you just snap off the supports when you're done. So these just snap off.
And that's resin.
Yeah, this is resin. So this is done.
So you still have to do supports with resin.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that.
They're a lot better, and you have to. The supports are way less, and they come off really easy too. So they just snap off because they're really thin. And printing them upside down enables a lot of different geometry to print, and you can hang stuff. It'll hang at about a 45 before it'll start to sag. So this one doesn't require any supports, but the one below it starts to, because your angles get a little bit too great. And as you pull it off the plate, it kind of sticks to the plate a little bit, and then it'll deflect, and then it'll get all weird.
Did it take a little bit of trial and error when you first started printing the fans?
Yeah, everything took trial and error. I think I've messed up every part I've ever made at least 5 times. And then So you set it at night before you go to bed, wake up and just peek your eye in there and be like, oh, it broke. Oh, it all stuck to the build plate. Or yeah, you ran out of resin halfway through the night and it printed and finished nothing or finished half of it. Or you get a beautiful print like this and one thing decided to not print right, or like one piece of railing didn't print right, or this corner of the cab didn't print right. Oh, yeah, the amount of trial and error and wasted resin, I stopped keeping track.
What kind of print time do you have doing like that cab that you have in your hand?
So this would probably be about 20 hours. So I'd set it and come back the next day. So set it in the morning, come back in the morning, and it'd be done. But I can print the whole build volume. So it's basically 15 inches. So if I can fit this next to it and this all in one build plate, I can print all these things in the same amount of time. I can print one. So I can print 3 cabs at the same time. I can print one as long as I can fit all 3 on the same build plate.
Huh. Interesting.
So that part is kind of nice. So it makes no difference if it fires one light or all of them. Whereas like FDM, the ones that use the filament, the build time increases with the more objects you create.
Oh, okay.
So you really don't add any time then. That's what I was wondering. That's interesting.
Yeah. It is very nice. And because with the FDM, the ones that do it layer by layer, so this one you might even be able to see the layered lines. Maybe. Nope, not quite. But this one was done with the plastic filament. And so it literally lays down a little nozzle, prints out each layer, and then builds its way up. And so the build time increases with each object. Whereas this one, a layer is shot in the entire exact time everywhere just because it's a light that shoots up there.
Huh.
Yeah. It's kind of neat because there's a screen the light lets through. And so there's a LED screen down there, and then it just has a layer on it that lets certain light shine through in certain places. And so that screen goes dark, and then it has lets light through where it needs it.
Somebody's asking, what's the Great Northern unit? Is that an F40?
Yeah, F40 or FP45. It's the 3-axle, so I think it's a 45. And then an FP for the passenger one, and then an F45 for the freight. But this one's the FP because it has the little stuff back here for I think it's a steam generator for the passenger cars.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this one has the steam generator on the back. So it's an FP45. And then it has the mounting spots for like the factory SD45 or SD70, sorry, from USA Trains will mount right up to right up to here. And it'll use the factory side frames too.
Oh,
so
okay.
I need to use one of these for it.
Now, how many separate pieces is that you're holding?
This one's, did I do this one in 3? Yeah, this one's 3. So right where my hand is here is one from the cab forward, and then here back is another one. And they go in kind of an L shape so that I can get a lot of good contact area for strength so that it's not flimsy. So I kind of do like a jog. So when I put the pieces together to glue them together, they have a nice seam and they kind of rest in the little grooves. And then I overlap some of the detail along the sides to give it a good look.
Now somebody's asking, you have beautiful products. How do you keep the prints from warping for such large parts?
It's very hard. I had to increase the side walls. The thickness of them helps a lot. And with the SLA printers, you don't have as much of an issue, but I've noticed as the parts cure, if you do not paint them, the sun will make them warp too. I actually have that problem in one of my engines right here. This one? Yeah. So in this one is beast. So the cab, let me show it, in this front corner has started to warp. So the cab is getting wider than the top plate. So luckily it's not very noticeable, and you can heat it up with a heat gun and squeeze it back together. It's kind of disturbing to like go hold the heat gun to your engine, but you can almost melt it back into place. You get it nice and warm, and then you can kind of squeeze it and hold it there with some tape and let it cool, and it'll maintain its shape. So it is a little bit malleable with heat, but other than that, it's been pretty solid. And then supports help too. If you're talking about printing or warping while you print, supports are the only way. You have to get pretty dense with some of your supports. Otherwise, the warp will just take over if you don't have the right supports. And that took a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of trial and error for the part you're printing.
Now, are there different grades of resin that you can use that are a little bit more heat resistant, or?
Yeah, there are quite a few different resins. The budget ones on Amazon are actually decent. Some of the engineering grade ones are better, but your exposure times also matter too. So how long you keep the light on your printer for each layer matter. The longer you keep your light on, the more brittle it will be. So if you overexpose your part, these are overexposed because I didn't paint them. So they got left in the sun and they just get way too over cured because the sun has UV and this uses UV light to cure. So they can bend it, it can snap like in a million pieces. So it becomes very brittle.
But once you paint the stuff, it kind of helps. Well, I imagine like UV protectant paint probably, or
any spray paint I've seen, just regular paint does a pretty good job. I haven't had trouble with any of them. So yeah.
Somebody's asking, are your one containers in the background custom painted? I was kind of like eyeing them up too.
Yeah, I made those out of USA Trains one, just dipped them in a big vat of alcohol, stripped them down myself, and then made my own because I like them so much. I see them all the time. So the guy at Circus City Graphics did an awesome job making me graphics. And then I just stripped the paint off and painted them myself. Just paint them solid white and repaint the handles.
Did you make the pink ones with the white lettering too, or just the white ones?
Yep. Oh, okay. I made the pink ones too, if I can find one.
I'm trying to remember. It could have been someone else, but didn't you attempt to 3D print some containers, Jonathan?
Yeah, I did. It's actually one right here. See if I can find my pink one too. Remember I did with that. So this one is 3D printed right here. And it is hollow inside, just like the USA Trains one. And it's almost identical. But it doesn't have working hand, whatever the latches. Yeah. They're not functional like the USA Trains one. And I had to put every single rivet in my CAD program. They sucked so bad.
Oh man.
Every single one of those rivets. Oh my God. And then the print time on these are so long because they're just huge. I mean, this thing's monstrous. So the print time on this is almost the same as the print time on this.
What? Really?
Yeah. Because it's
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they're close. I think this one's like a few hours different. And so from a business standpoint, they're horrible because I can sell an engine way more than I can sell a container. You know, if it's more than $40-$50, containers kind of become like, maybe I don't want one that much.
So somebody's asking, what did it cost you to resin print something like that container?
Well, they're saying, what's it cost you in resin?
Yeah. So in resin, I think it's, without the printer itself, it's about $40 in resin. Well, probably $30 in resin. So not too bad. If you did it yourself that's definitely doable. You can print this whole thing for $30. Heck yeah, that's a deal. But if you had to paint it and do all the decals and buy the printer, it doesn't become so cost effective anymore.
Yeah, it adds up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but then that resin goes quick. You'll think I buy it by the gallon and get 10 gallons and in a month it's gone. You're going, oh, that hurt. $400.
Yeah. Now, have you noticed with the like the different colors of the resin, if you get more out of it than the other? I've heard someone before say that like the darker colored resins kind of pollute the tank a little bit more.
I haven't noticed that. I have noticed they cure differently, like a black resin or a clear resin.
Oh, okay.
So the clear resins, the UV light shines through them, so they tend to get overexposed a little bit and they become brittle. Whereas a black resin, you lay one layer down, it doesn't kind of pollute the layers above it.
Okay.
So I have noticed that is definitely a difference. But I use everything in gray because it's so much easier to paint and so much easier to prime and get the color you want. But yeah, with the clear ones, it's kind of neat because you can tint them. So if you wanted to buy clear, you can buy a color kit and just dump whatever color you want. You can print and then make that resin now whatever color you want.
Yeah, I had someone send me some stuff. It was almost like a translucent green color that they had resin printed. I had wondered about that.
Yeah, that's how I made the lenses for my strobe lights. So like on this one, it's a 3D printed lens, and it's a strobe light for the, I guess it's not glued down, but so then I just put a yellow LED in it, and then it's got a clear lens, and then I just paint the bottom of it gray. Show anybody there? And then it's got a nice clear lens on it. So that's kind of cool. You can't print windows. They're not quite that clear, but
that was going to be my next question. Darn.
Yeah, I wish I could print windows. That'd be really nice because right now they're all just made out of that clear plastic sheeting.
And how about the number boards?
You could do number boards. They wouldn't be quite as clear as I think you might like, but you could do number boards. Then you'd have to lay over a graphic of some kind, but you couldn't print like the black background and clear all in one print. It'd be just one color.
Yeah, you'd have to decal the numbers on there.
Yeah, so it'd be just like a clear piece of plastic. Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, the coolest technology I've ever come across because you can just make whatever you can design is the hard part. And I just watched like 5 or 6 YouTube videos and started messing around on Fusion 360. And they used to have a free license, and now you have to pay for it. So it's not quite as user friendly, but yeah, you can make whatever you can think of. And you can do higher end printers too. So there's $100,000 printers that'll print stuff like this out of nylon. And so this is the end cap or an end piece for a tank car from USA Trains, one of those aluminum ones. And
yeah, those tend to get like a zinc rot to them, don't they?
Yeah, they have that zinc rot, and I got one and the end just crumbled, and I had a perfectly cool car with no end on it. So I designed one of these, and the resin wasn't quite strong enough. So I contacted a company called Jaws Tech, which is only about 10 minutes from my house. And they have their printers start at $100,000. They're fuse deposition printers. They're the ones that do what are they do? They can do metal, and they can do nylon. They can do carbon fiber reinforced nylon. They can do multi-jet fusion. They're basically like a sand bed, and then they print over with this one pass, and it dumps this liquid on it, and it like fuses it together. They're really cool. HP makes them, but they are a fortune, and they can print huge volumes, and they are super strong. It's really cool stuff.
I have the link to your store in the description, but I put it up on the banner because I'm sure there's at least a few people watching that have a USA tank car that's destroyed on it. I'm pretty sure you have those in your store, don't you?
Yeah. Yep, I do.
Zachary's asking, do you have a list of what you sell?
Just my website. I've got a few things on there. Some of the things are sold out because I'm trying to catch up on the big engines I've already sold. So some of the items are sold out, and I've got like 3 orders I have to fill still. So yeah, there is my website, customgscale.com, and also HS Trains take you to the same place. I was working with an engineer, so I used to be HS Trains, and then I don't work with him anymore. So I'm designing my own stuff now. Yeah, because I make gears. Like these are nylon gears for the Dash 9. So those are printed out of nylon. They're really strong. And like the plow for the LGB Amtrak engine, the Genesis. So that's the plow for that. And like a 5 chime horn for the SD70s.
Oh, nice.
And what else do I make? There's so many things. I mean, some things are things I made just because I needed them. So I put them on the website. Maybe nobody else will ever buy them. But like this is a coupler mount for an SD70 for the Katie coupler mount.
Is that still a swing mount though?
No. So just pivots right at the center. See if I have one mounted. Yeah, so like this is the Katie mount.
Ah, okay.
And then this is my piece, and then a regular Katie box just mounts right up to it, and then it just swings like that. It doesn't swing like the USA Trains ones where it swings all the way across, but it does pivot in the middle, and then it mounts up to the factory mounting points. And I didn't like the distance that the ore cars for the LGB cars were, because they're always too far away. So I made a custom mount to make the ore cars the right distance. Ooh. And so it's a custom box that mounts up to the holes. And I also made a centerpiece for the axles to.
Did you lower them down or
cut them? So you have to cut the tongue off in order to get the body mount couplers. So instead of cutting all the tongues off, I just 3D printed a centerpiece that I could replace the original with that didn't have it. So, and then because when you buy these things, they're like this far apart when you use the standard LGB.
Yes.
So I made my own.
Very nice.
Yeah, and then parts that I break and can't get, I design them.
John's asking, can you mount that KD mount on a USA Trains PA1 front and back?
I don't know. I don't have one of those.
Does the PA, John, use that same type of swivel mount that the SD uses, I guess? I know the SD40-2 has that swivel on it as well, but I'm not sure if it's the same one.
So this is what it looks like from the factory for USA Trains. Like they have this little T-looking thing.
Oh yeah,
And then mine just mounts up to the existing mounting bracket there, and then fills this gap. So probably not, unless it has this exact gap right here, and this exact mounting point. It probably wouldn't, unless I'd have to look at one. But if it does, great. But and if you want to give me one, I'd happily take a look.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Free locomotives are always good.
That's right.
Free locomotive.
Is that a thing? Let's make that a thing.
Free Locomotive Friday. Good thing our show's on Saturday.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of an overview of the stuff that I make. There's quite a few more. Like this is a mounting point for the Big Boy and the FEF. If you want to mount a body mount Katie coupler, this will go in the exact hole on the tender.
So they're not body mounted from the factory then, or have a provision for it?
I think they might be body mounted, but they're not the Katie couplers. So if you want to be picky, it lets you mount that box straight to the FEF tender or the Big Boy tender. And then it has all the holes for the factory screws, and they're recessed so it mounts flush and has the right height. So
I noticed Ken put in their hashtag win a prize.
What are you giving away tonight, Sean?
I'm not giving anything away. This is your it's on your channel. It's your giveaway.
It is.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of harebrained ideas. These are just the ones that work that I could actually package and try and get somebody to buy. But there's so many that didn't. It's not even funny. Like, have you ever seen a transfer table, like the ones that move side to side to move the engines out? I made one of those, and I 3D printed the entire bridge to fit even a Big Boy, like a 57-inch 3D printed bridge that kind of goes in the middle, and it works. But it's not very feasible to print at all.
Oh,
wow.
Like weeks to print that thing. And then, so there's all kinds of harebrained ideas that I have. Like I made a bridge for like the turntable too. Bridges just don't do well with 3D printing unless you make them extremely thick.
Yeah, I imagine once you start getting a long span going.
Yeah. Best way to do it is make it out of steel and then just add 3D printed detail. I think that's the best way to, if you're making anything big anyway. I think that'd be the way to go. Yeah. What else have I made? I think that's about it for things that I've made. This thing took a long time to print, this auxiliary tender.
That's pretty nice. I like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So that one took a while to print. And then I made my own 3-axle trucks too, because your only option was basically the 3-axle trucks from Aristo-Craft off of their, is it a Vanderbilt tender? And so unless you could find some of those, good luck. But so I just printed my own and then pressed in bearings in them so that you could put the wheels in.
Very nice.
Yeah. And that turned out pretty good. And then I made it hollow because the resin would be way too heavy and cost a fortune. So this one's hollow and I printed a lattice structure under it. This one's printed in 2 sections. And then the end caps are printed separate. And also the top details all printed separate too.
Sorry about that.
Oh, Sean's giving someone in the chat a hard time.
So I'm really liking them the Union Pacific locomotives. To me, that's like the big boy of diesels. So what made you decide to do these DD40AXs? I have to know.
So there's one about 5 minutes that way in the park.
Oh,
And
really?
Well, I guess that could inspire you.
Yeah, I think it's the 6901, I think, is at Ross Park in Pocatello, Idaho, of all places.
So what is it, like on display or something?
Yeah, Union Pacific donated it to the city of Pocatello. I don't know why or what the story is, but it's totally broken down and crappy looking now, so they kind of botched that deal. Big surprise. But I saw one when I was a kid. It came, I think it was with the Challenger, or no. What was it? I think it was the FEF came through and it had a DD40 with it when I was like 10. And it stopped in American Falls where I lived, and that's the first time I ever saw one. And so I've always wanted one. My dad had one in HO, and it's just the coolest engine I'd ever seen. So I looked and looked and looked, and some guy made one, 3D printed. His son made it for him, and it was on that really big layout down in Arizona. I contacted him and I said, could I buy it from you? Could I buy it, the design, the plan? Because I had never made anything that big in CAD ever. It was like way out of my league. And so I decided that since he wouldn't sell me one, and he said he wanted to have the only one, and he was just really proud of that. So I made my own. So,
and supposedly there is one still left running, I believe.
Yeah, the 36, this one here, the 6936 is still running. Yep. And they still run it today, as far as I know. I think it's in, is it Missouri, where the headquarters are for Union Pacific now?
Oh, okay.
I think that's where it's at. But yeah, it's just always been my favorite engine, even though it wasn't really a successful engine because it's kind of 2 engines in one.
Yeah.
That's what I heard is why they didn't use it, because when one engine went down, they were out 2 engines instead of one.
That makes sense.
But
I heard supposedly there's a DD40 40AX in the Illinois Museum. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but
yeah, there's a few that they kept just for posterity and just to keep out and for display. And they ripped up the tracks for the one here, so they can't even move it if they wanted to. So they drove it there, then removed all the tracks and put the railroad somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pretty weird that we have one. We used to be a pretty big hub in Pocatello. There's a big yard here, and they moved a lot of it to Missouri. And so a lot of the trains have gone.
So the one that you 3D printed, I'm assuming that you can't run it on anything smaller than 20-foot diameter.
Yeah, and it's not even really a restriction of the engine. It's just the cars behind it. So you could run the engine on a tighter diameter, but it's going to throw every car off behind it. And,
okay.
The 4-axle blocks that I made will actually run on like a 10-foot. So these will actually run on a 10-foot diameter track.
Oh, wow.
The 4-axle truck will, without very many problems.
Ooh, 10-foot diameter.
Yeah, and yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. All my tests I did were on 10-foot, and
Wow.
my original test was on a -9 3-axle, and then I added this on the back of the 3-axle truck and with another gearbox, and then linked them together with a cut up Allen wrench, or like the hex key. Cut a chunk out of that and put it between them and put another gearbox and another axle, and it worked great. That engine ran great. I sold it to a guy, I think in Pennsylvania. So yeah, I'd build one, and then someone would buy it, and that would fund my next 3D printer. And then so I built another one, sold it, funded my next 3D printer, and then kind of grew. And I wish I could make them faster, but they are so difficult to build. They take a lot of time. Like this one here, the one I'm currently working on. If I can get it over here. Let's see if I can get my cap back on here. But I've had to change my design even from it because of warping and other issues that I ran into and shipping. I shipped one to Germany and it broke the front. So I've added like steel into it, and so that it gives it a little bit better rigidity. Because if you see here, there's this little piece here. There's not a lot of material here because these are two separate pieces. So the only thing holding it there, the only structure you have is the big tank. And so I added some steel to it, and then just use some big washers and whoops, hit my mouse with the, yeah. So, and then you can see inside, it's just a big empty cavity where I stash all my batteries and my pieces, and then the holes are where the trucks mount on through this little. I
have to say, I like that in chassis system.
Yeah, I bet you, I bet you do. Yeah. Yeah. When the guy requested it, I was like, "You want what?" Like, okay, I've never seen one in that, but that sounds cool.
Nico says he doesn't think Chessie had one of them.
He did not.
I don't know. Chessie had the curves and track to handle that. Then again, you know,
this is you're paying for it, so I'll do whatever you want.
There you go.
You want to make it hot pink? We can do that.
Nah, I'll pass on the hot pink. I got a pink Snapple trailer here somewhere. At least I think it's supposed to be pink. Or got sun faded.
A cool engine when it's done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then I made myself two, and I'm almost done with the two I made for myself. If I'd stop selling the ones I make for myself.
Does that tend to be a problem?
It's like, oh crap, I'm out of money. I need to sell something. Let's sell something I can make again. So that's what goes. Yeah. That or the FP45, the Great Northern. I think this one would be really popular too if I could make more of them.
Yeah.
But it's a nice looking engine too.
I think you need to make the F40PH for the Amtrak people.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good seller. I think it would too. There isn't a F40PH in G scale currently. I mean, Great Trains made one years ago, but it wasn't exactly to scale or well detailed. That was for sure. Well, let's see. Oh, did we lose Jonathan? Did you? No, he'll be back.
I just found the container you were looking for. Speaking of pink.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, these ones are great. It was cool because I'd see them all the time going by. We have a lot of container cars that go by our place here, and I just had to have one, so I decided to make my own.
Stefan's asking if you can make a DD40AX to go around a 4-foot curve.
Probably not, unless you wanted to bend in the middle.
It sounds like something LGB would maybe do.
Yeah, I bet that'd be pretty funny.
That's a good idea. NSNJ Railfan says you can make F40PH in a cabbage car with the same base model. Them cabbage cars are pretty neat.
What is it?
cabbage car.
Cabbage
You know
car?
what cabbage?
Cabbage car.
Yeah.
No, I've
Yeah.
never seen one of those.
Well, what Amtrak did is they took locomotives that were basically dead and they turned them into baggage cars. Hence the word cabbage. Cab and baggage.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There's a Great Northern FP45 that's a hotel room somewhere fairly close to me. I think in Montana. Someone turned one into a bed and breakfast. It was super cool. I think that'd be neat to go see.
Yeah.
Real quick here, before I forget about it again, since Ken Hoffman was asking about a giveaway, I think I will go ahead and do one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, why not?
Cool.
Let me see here. So, in our merch store, I recently put up new hoodies that I had done up. They come in various colors. This one's blue, but of course the back has a nice logo on it.
Those are cool.
So what we'll do is I'll put the hashtag up here for it. And at the end of the show, we'll draw one winner out of there, and I will send them a free hoodie of their size and color that they choose.
Does that come in pink too?
You'd have to check the website, Sean. But if you win it, you can have it in pink.
Even my energy drink's pink, so why not?
It would match his one pink container.
Yeah. I think I made 6 because I thought they were so cool. They're somewhere around
Yeah,
here.
you do see quite a few of them in a unit training.
Yeah. Yeah, they are really neat. I thought they were cool. Ocean Network Express, straight out of China.
I passed a pretty lengthy train on the way to the show. I go by a city called Bayonne, New Jersey, and there was like a big, huge intermodal yard there where there's ships coming in to be offloaded. And there was a whole, I didn't realize how big, I don't know if I'm saying it right, is HAPAD, Hapag Lloyd.
Hapag Lloyd, yeah.
Hapag Lloyd is. There's just nothing but a sea of orange because that's what color they are. But there was quite a few of them.
Yeah. I had a friend make me one out of cardboard, and it was actually pretty good. A Hapag Lloyd one. That was pretty
Oh, really?
neat. Yeah. And then he just decaled them out of with a cry cut or cricket, whatever you call those things. He made his own decals, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It was neat. Oh yeah, speaking of harebrained ideas, this was another one of my crazy ideas. This is a DeWalt battery car. So you can take a DeWalt drill battery and I can get that down here. You can put a DeWalt battery. This is like the bottom of a flashlight, one of those
Oh, yeah.
flashlights. I shish kebabbed it and took the wiring out. Clip your DeWalt battery in there and hit the button for the flashlight to turn it on. And put it back in there and you got a battery car. And then on the other side, I took and put a voltage regulator and a readout that'll tell me the voltage of the battery. And then it'll also step down the voltage and tell you the amperage draw. So I can put out, I did like 12 volts out one end and then the voltage for the engine out the other. So I could run passenger cars. And these are off of Amazon. These are cheap $10 boards that you can buy on Amazon all day long.
I was getting like a Back to the Future vibe, like it was the time circus in the DeLorean or something.
Yeah. And then it also runs a fan. And inside of here is a trackside controller, one of the 2.4 gigahertz trackside controllers.
Oh, okay.
So there's a fan to keep it cool. And then you can, that's how I was running my Dash 9s because I didn't want to convert all my Dash 9s to Rail Pro. And then it's kind of cool because it tells you the amperage draw too.
That can start adding up.
Yeah, big time. Especially if you try and put one in a DD40 and you want to do 2 just for one engine.
2 for one engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
For a DD40, it makes sense because you got two motors in the back and 2 in the front. And so then you just link them together and different motors for each. It's kind of cool.
Make sure when you put your hashtags in there, it's the hashtag and the name is all together. Hashtag Hoodie. If you don't do it right, it won't pick it up correctly.
I'm not sure what Nico's trying to win with hashtag Hoodie.
Hoodie and the Blowfish? What?
Hoodie. Well, I especially like the one where he says hashtag cover my bald head or something like that.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
But Slycat's here. Hello, Slycat. So you also done some cool stuff with switches as well.
Yeah. So speaking of Amazon, you find crap you find on Amazon. So I made like a
Amazon, never heard of it.
Yeah, right. They make these cool RF controllers that control like servos, and they control what do they call it? Relays, like a big relay board. I can kind of put you over here for a second. But so that's what I made out of this guy here. These are your relays that respond to this, so that you can click over switches that are controlled. If I can find the right one. It's because we're live. There you go. So then you can use this little remote to move all your switches.
Oh, wow.
And it's got incredible range. I can't even get out. I can go anywhere in my yard to the street even and control it. But it's pretty simple. This is just like a fuse relay that I found that has blade fuses in it. And then these are the solenoids. I think you put links to all this stuff in the description, right?
Yes, I have links to all of the parts that you need to put that together in the description.
So these are on a website that makes industrial supply stuff. And then these are just little air hoses, these little rubber air hoses. And then this one's hooked up to an air compressor, which is way overkill. You can use like one of those pump cans if you wanted, like those for spraying weeds.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Those will work too if you wanted to, but air compressor is easier for me. And then I just did a little regulator that turned down the pressure. But a lot of them have them built in too, like a lot of your compressors do. And they'll handle full pressure if you want. Just seemed overkill for me. And you can team up these as many as you want. Whoops. And you can do 20 of them if you wanted to. And this current one will control 16 different switches. And this thing's super cheap. I think it was like $30.
So each one has a number on there, and you can throw like switch number 4, number 5, or number 6.
Yeah, out on my my rail yard, I actually have them numbered, but here I don't, just for this little demo. And I think I run like 20 psi.
Oh, so it doesn't take much to throw them at all then.
No, I think my air compressor's been unplugged for hours, so I don't even know what it's at now, but it'll still throw the switches. So, and then this is just like which one was this? I don't even know anymore. So yeah, it's getting pretty weak because the air compressor needs to run again, but I didn't want to run it because it's loud.
So I have a question for you. I see other people sometimes run air. So what's the advantage of air over electric switches?
They're extremely strong compared to the motors on a regular switch machine. These things have a lot of power, and they don't care about the weather. It can be whatever these have been out in my yard for 3 years, and
you don't have to worry about corrosion on electronics or anything.
Yeah, no corrosion, no electronics. And this little rubber hose stuff is super cheap. It's really malleable. It doesn't break very easy. It's really strong. And these brass guys here, you can rebuild this pneumatic guy here. You can rebuild that if you wanted.
So did you have to make something up to mount those?
So yeah, there's just a lot of advantages to it that way. And you could hide this underneath your deck like I do, and then you have no electronics outside. And I saw the question about the Rail Pro. I've actually been trying to do that, and supposedly you can. I haven't figured it out yet, but I haven't spent a ton of time on it. I think I have the piece right here. So I think you can use the Rail Pro accessory module somehow to get this to fire. I haven't figured out how to
Ooh.
do it yet, but might take a little bit more investigating. And I probably have to fry one or two of them in the process. That's just to be ammo. If I don't fry one, then I didn't do it right.
Yee.
Yeah, let out the magic smoke, and it's not going to work anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really neat system though, and relatively cheap. I think the most expensive part were the solenoids, the air solenoids. I think they're, I can't remember, $30. And then these little guys, the little cylinders are, I think they're $20 or something like that. These guys. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and then they just thread a little piece of like paper clip basically through it to the switch. And then the mounting brackets, I think were from like Sunset Valley Railroad or something like that. I don't know if they're still in business, but it doesn't take much to mount it to anything. It's just there's a screw right here, so you can make a piece of plastic and cut it up with a pair of scissors and mount it if you wanted, or a piece of wood and just screw it to it, as long as it's parallel to the track or perpendicular. So,
oh, there goes your next 3D printed project.
Yeah. I could print some of those.
Now, when you actually throw the switch with that, does it keep a positive force against it to keep the points positively engaged?
Yes. That is another big benefit. They're spring retracted, and then when there's air pressure on it, the air pressure is continuously holding it there. So there's the spring that pulls it back that keeps the pressure there, and then the air that pushes it that keeps the pressure there. So it's you can't go backwards through them though. So that's good or bad. You can't go backwards through the switch. Not going to work well for you. Unless you turn your air pressure way down, but then it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my solution to it. I really wanted to use it with the Rail Pro because it'd be so nice to have a switch all in one with your Rail Pro. But I have not solved that mystery yet. So if anybody does, feel free to let me know or make a nice video. Yeah, because I've tried every single control system. I have AirWire and I have the Train Engineer, and I even have one of the really cool Markland, the CS3 or whatever it's called. Yeah, I have one of those. I got some really cool LGB engines that have huge amounts of functionality, but the only way to really use it is to use one of those.
So John's asking, what pressure do those run at?
I think I'm at 20.
You're at 20?
Yeah. But I think normal, I like try and stay around 50. Like currently they're at 20, but now on my railroad, I do like 50 PSI.
So since you mentioned the different control systems, which I have a pretty good guess, but what's your favorite control system out of all the ones you've tried?
Favorite probably has to be Rail Pro, but I can't get away from any of them because they all fit a certain thing I need. Like, I like this one because it integrates with the Phoenix sound system in my big boy, and I don't have to swap out the sound system because the AirWire CS or C3, can't remember which one it is, but it'll control a Phoenix sound card in my big boy. Great, and I love the sound in it. And like this one has the highest amperage draw. I can run 3 engines at once with the trackside model because it has a 15 amp decoder in it. So I like it to run my aristo-craft engines. But as far as all in one, like with the best sound for the money, like you can't beat Rail Pro. You can do sound and a controller for like $170, which is unheard of on any of these. Well, Train Engineer, but the sound really is terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't really compare. I mean, yeah, they definitely have a very good product going with the Rail Pro stuff now.
Yeah, they really do. And it's got a cool color screen. That's part's kind of nice. And you can do your own sounds. I made my own compressor sounds, like the air compressor that runs. Made my own sound for that. And just import your own sound files. Yeah, the sky's the limit. I think I did it on this one, actually. I think. But yeah, you can in your own pictures. There's just so many neat things you can do with it. If anybody wants to hear it, I can show you.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, this is the sound I made. And I mean, all I wanted was that the pop off and the initial start because the real sound didn't have it. So I made my own.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah, so you'd always hear it when it would start, when the real engine would start up, you hear the compressor start. So I'd start the engine and then hit the compressor sound, and I'd get that sound too. And I just ripped it off of a YouTube video. You can do a YouTube to MP3 conversion, and then take and cut your little sample piece out, upload it to their software, and throw it on your computer or throw it in your card. You can do horns, you can do whatever you want with the sound. There's someone had like a music playing on theirs too. You can do a music clip if you wanted.
I want one with Dakman calling out signals from the cab.
Have they does RailPro have cab chatter for these locomotives?
I don't know.
That's something that's always been nice is when you have the cab chatter.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. I like cab chatter. That's just me.
I don't think they do. Not that it's, at least I've never uploaded it. I've never been.
You know, where the locomotive engineer is talking to the dispatch, or dispatch is telling him he's got a certain thing, you know, going back and forth.
Yeah, that stuff is kind of cool. I've just never looked for it.
Yeah, that was just a curious question.
You could definitely make your own though, if you wanted to. Wouldn't that be entertaining?
Yeah, that would.
Make it yell at people when they get too close. Back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Darren Moore's got the radio. He said just upload your own in Dakman voice. we should put a TM after that. Dakman voice TM.
Yeah. That is pretty funny. You do voiceovers. You could make money, man. You could just do voiceovers and sell them.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm hoping this technology will come down and you can custom order your parts from like a big company that makes stuff out of nylon that's not flimsy or breakable. Because you could really make something really nice out of this, but this part, to have it printed professionally, is like $25, and I could print it for like $5. So that's kind of the comparison. So I'm hoping this technology comes down and we can start ordering our own parts just already made out of a really high strength material, because definitely the downside to 3D printing is it's not super strong.
I mean, there are some places you can order stuff from, but I know that can get kind of pricey.
Yeah, Shapeway. And in fact, I uploaded an entire DD40 to Shapeway, and to the place I go through is Jaws Tech. And I think it was $2,500 or something like that to print the entire thing in nylon. Yeah, and that's unpainted, unassembled. Just you get the raw parts.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, that does add up.
Yeah, it does.
But I have to imagine the price will go down with time. I mean, just like with anything. Well, I mean, look, when resin printing first came out, it was quite a bit more than it is now. So
yeah,
it's just going to take some time.
Yeah, it is going to take some time. I'm hoping those technologies become more accessible. Problem is the machines are huge. Like they take up a big portion of my room that I'm in just to have any to have ventilation. And so I don't think that there'll ever be a fully consumer model for that. It's because of the size, but unless, yeah, that always shrinks too, I guess.
Yeah. So, do you have any new projects you're working on, or anything you have on the drawing board?
No, I have just ones I'm trying to wrap up. I want to wrap up the rest of the SD40s or the DD40s that I have, and then I want to make some kits for the FP series, so the FP45 and the F45. I want to make kits that people can buy and make their own. Like you'll just buy all the parts, and then you can put it together yourself.
Oh, okay.
Right now, it's just way too much of my time to make one for everybody that wants one.
I can understand that.
Yeah, because I think I could sell 30 of
day.
those. Yeah, right now, if I wanted to. If I had that many in hand, I could sell them tomorrow. There's absolutely a demand for them, but only so many hours in the day. And this water accessory car, whatever they call the
auxiliary.
Yeah,
I could sell as many of those as I could print if I could make them for a decent amount of money. And even these trucks, I've had lots of requests to make just these. And
are those maybe you said earlier, I can't remember, are those based off of like the ones that Aristo had made, or is that your own?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So they're based off those. The sides are different. They're more prototypical than the Aristo ones, but I got as much detail as I could in CAD, and I'm really bad at making springs, so I tried to put springs back here, but designing them in CAD was like above my skill set, so I was lucky to get brakes on them. So, and they look pretty close. I'm definitely not disappointed.
No, and I couldn't complain about that.
Yeah, just getting all the thousands of rivets on this thing was a nightmare. Just like the container cars, just placing every rivet. Good thing there's a multiply tool because that helps a little bit. My gosh, there's a lot of stuff that goes into these.
I'd like a multiply tool for my paycheck.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'd love to see the drawings that they have for like the SD7 or the -9, the original drawings that they sent over for their injection molding stuff. That'd be really neat. I don't know who designed that stuff, but there's a lot of skill.
So I'm looking at 4TrackRR's comment about modifying it to an SDP45. I'm trying to remember SDP45. Is that still I'm trying to think. No, I have a tunnel motor stuck in my head. That's what I'm thinking of. I would have to look and see what the heck the difference is between those. What's the difference for TrackRR?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen that one. An SDP45.
That was an Amtrak unit, he says. SDP45.
Oh, okay. I think I know which one he's talking about now.
I'm still lost, but I don't know a lot of those, so it's okay.
That's hey, I'm not 100% up to speed on what all the different models is either. Yeah. Sean likes to get on me for not knowing prototypical things, but
yeah, I'm definitely famous for that. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. Let's just do that. I'm like, that was never an engine. Oh well.
And the tunnel motor was made as an SD40-2T and SD45-2T as well.
Those are squared off in the back because they had the lower vents, right?
They had the lower radiator vents, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. I've noticed there's a lot of things that you can do to an engine just to make it like another engine. Like just like I did with the SD70s to make them the flared radiator. You can just add a radiator on it and it looks a lot like another engine. Or you can put a different nose on it and it looks like a different engine. Or you can put a middle section on it and it makes a totally different engine. And so there's a lot of possibilities out there just to change one or two things to get it super close. So if you're not super picky, I guess that's a good thing, but which I'm not. If it looks close, I'm happy. And with our hobby, with as few vendors as we have and as few manufacturers we have, I'm just happy to do anything different than what's out there.
I was going to ask. It was right there in the front of my mind. I was going to ask you something and it slipped away.
So who's making the next new engine, the diesel engine? Isn't it someone's making oh man. RLD had them on their website. They were for pre-order.
The GP60s?
Yes, those ones.
Yeah, that's AML.
Yeah.
And
that's our only hope for a new diesel engine that I know of. Well, I guess the Dash 9 from Bachmann is supposed to come out.
Yeah, the last I heard from Bachmann, I think it was on their Facebook page. I think it was Facebook or Twitter. I can't remember. Someone asked when those would be out, and their answer was like a summer 2022 release on the Dash 9. And I sent an email to AML about a week and a half ago to ask them if they had any update. And I believe they were saying like towards the end of next month here, maybe some of them might start shipping, was the answer I got back. But I think them, just like with a lot of other people, they're having supply chain issues right now with getting all the components they need to finish stuff off.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I sell computers and I can't get laptops to save my life.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, we can go down that rabbit hole.
We had a whole order of laptops at work that weren't going to come in because they couldn't get them. Yeah, everything's kind of hard to get right now.
I love that I pay for Prime and nothing's been 2-day shipping for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I pay for Prime is I keep forgetting to cancel it. So then I keep using it. It's like, well, I still have it. I might as well use it.
Yeah. Didn't someone make like a high nose kit too for to make the SD45 into a high nose? I thought someone made one of those.
Well, I know Aristo actually made a high nose in the SD45, but I believe Colin Camarillo did a high nose kit for something. I'm trying to remember what now.
Yeah, that could be it. I think that's right.
I remember he did like a resin printed high nose, but I can't remember if it was specific to a certain engine or not. Oh, yep, there he is. There's Colin. Yes, he has a kit.
Cool.
What engine is it for, Colin? Fill us in, because I can't remember.
It's got to be an SD45, I would think. Or maybe the 40. Oh, yeah, SD40.
Oh, is that what he said, SD40?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, chat scrolled on me too fast. I'm going to click on it. Here we go.
He says he believes it's the Aristo SD45.
Well, he says SD40 and he... Okay. So is it either or is it both, Colin?
He says it's been a while. I guess he can't remember either. Nico said Vinny just did a GP38 high nose.
Yeah, I showed pictures of that a couple shows ago.
That would be cool.
And yeah, Colin says that's actually for both.
It kind of breathes new life into old engines, so I think it's kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you can make a slight modification to something to just make something new out of it without having to, completely construct a DD40.
Yeah, or cut your engine in half with a chop saw,
I think it was Norfolk Western actually had a high nose. I'm thinking it's a GP30.
I believe you are right on that. I know I've seen pictures of a high nose GP30.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe I've seen a couple of people make them and make their own in G scale, but I believe it was a chop job. I believe they had to hack the nose off of something else. Well, let's see here.
Yeah. So is there an engine you guys have always wanted to see being made that never has been?
Ooh.
Well, I think the F40PH would be a bet, ball, hit ball out of the park. That's the locomotive that I think should have been made quite some long time ago. It's been.
It was made, but it was 1/32 scale. I think it was Great Trains that did it years ago.
Great Trains made it, but there was no great detail to it.
No, there was a lot. There's a lot of great work that went into making it detailed.
Yeah,
but
are those a 4-axle or a 2-axle truck?
I think a full scale 1/29 one would be.
Let's see. Kyle wants an O scale SD50. I mean G scale. Yeah. We were giving Kyle a hard time earlier. Let's see. Kenny's saying SD9.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what it was that I wanted to see years ago. What the heck was that thing? It is. I'm just having a long night tonight with my memory. Oh yeah, there we go. Kyle put up what I was trying to think of. A standard or normal cab on an SD70.
Like this? Is this a normal cab?
No, a non-wide cab.
Oh, non-wide cab. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the different cab that I make for the SD70.
Yeah. Ooh, I don't know why anybody would want that, Darren, but I guess if you really want a BL2.
Oh, Heath is here.
What do you think, Jonathan? A BL2?
A VL2 or
BL2?
BL2. What is that?
It
was a really kind of a weird, like,
yeah.
Oh, I wonder if I can find a picture of one.
I might have to pull it up.
Yeah, it's a weird looking locomotive.
Yeah, look up an EMD BL2.
Oh.
I like EMD, but a BL2 wouldn't be on my.
What's wrong with its nose? Looks like the 70s ate an engine and threw it back up. No, I'm kidding. It is kind of cool. It has a unique look, that's for sure.
Oh, Slagcat answered my question I had earlier.
Oh.
He says, Dakman, you asked about the hoodie in pink. The answer is yes, it does come in pink.
There you go.
My daughters would be overjoyed.
And it looks like Nico's saying no to the BL2.
Yeah, I'll have
I
to
think
that one.
If I had unlimited skill, I would design the S1, the steam engine, the Pennsylvania did.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be cool. Or
that'd be another one that you would need a 20-foot diameter track to run on.
Yeah.
Because that's actually longer than a big boy.
Yeah, I think I'd have to get with Ted. I wouldn't mind seeing an SD7 or SD9.
Those would be pretty cool.
I know I've seen a few. Well, let's see. I'm pretty sure before aristo-craft went out of business, I believe they had made mention several times about possibly making one.
They did.
And then I thought another manufacturer had mentioned it at one time, and it never came to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was it AML maybe, or
it was AML. Yeah, they were talking about doing the
turbine would be good too. I actually started drawing the turbine, the 80. I think it was called. Is that the one with the big middle one that had I think it was an 80B. That one was really cool.
I like Colin's ideal there. RSD5 trucks to retrofit on the RS3s.
Yeah, those are 3-axle trucks, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, that I wouldn't mind seeing like a U30 or U33C, a 3-axle U-boat. Did you just have a stroke, Sean?
Yeah. As soon as you say anything General Electric, I have a stroke.
I just wanted to check on you there. I was worried.
I don't even buy GE appliances.
Yeah.
100-ton crane. That's a cool one.
I see Nico saying they had plans at one of the East Coast shows. Plans for what, Nico? For the BL2 or something else?
Yeah, see, Kyle agrees with me. No, Andrew, to your GE idea.
Oh, come on. See? Hey, Kenny agrees with me. He likes U33s.
Kenny likes anything.
He loves all trains. This is true.
Yeah.
I think it'd be the 80B gas turbine. That's the one I would do.
Well, that's because it's Union Pacific.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt. What's funny is my favorite is the Great Northern and Burlington Northern, but I won't say no to a UP.
It was plans for an SW switcher is what Nico was talking about. I am liking this 3-axle truck ideal for the RS though.
Yeah. I believe it's the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania actually has an RS locomotive out there that's got the 3-axle truck element.
Yeah, I think the Mad River and Nickel Plate Railway Museum up in Bellevue, Ohio, has a 3-axle one as well, or 6-axle rather, but 3-axle trucks.
Yeah, 3-axle trucks I bought like 30 of them. So I never ran out. So I'd never run out when I make my DD40s and my FP45s from USA Trains. This is my only hope to make like engines from now to the future is these.
So
without those.
When the Alco had the 3-axle trucks, were they any longer or just the same size length or same length just with 3-axle trucks on them?
Same length, but different wheel size.
Okay.
I think the Alcos are the same as the SD40s as far as wheel size.
I know, like when I looked up like the U25B and the U25C, like the length difference was very minimal. It wasn't anything like extravagant. And I think it kind of came down to just a little bit more weight distribution.
Yeah.
A PRR G10 is what Kyle's saying.
I don't know what that one is.
A G10. What the heck is a G10? Come on, Kyle. I gotta Google this to see what the heck a G10 is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm
more familiar with the diesel locomotives.
So when I made my container cars, I put them in sections. And these are the sections for the end caps. I forgot I was going to show you guys these.
Oh.
So they just slip on. They're actually a direct fit to the USA Train ones too. So that's kind of neat. A little off topic, but as long as it's trains, right? That's
it can't possibly be off topic. Other than when Nico put up hashtag cover my bald head.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, Slag Cat, we do not have that in G scale. And Alco Baldwin AS616. Unless it's something that MTH did in 1 gauge, I don't believe any other manufacturer's done anything like that.
No, they haven't.
Are they making trains again or still?
MTH, they're supposed to.
They run a live stream for, I believe, Train World a week or two ago, and they're kind of a smaller company than what they were before.
Right.
And I know they said they sold off like their HO and S scale lines. They didn't sell any of the 1 gauge, and they have part of their O gauge stuff still. And they're still going to make runs. It's just not going to be as much stuff each year. And they're not doing a traditional catalog anymore. You actually have to go to their website and sign up for their e-newsletter. I think they send out like a weekly or bi-weekly email with updates on products and stuff.
I also thought I've seen them say they were only doing BTO, built to order. So
I don't
there's
know.
not. Yeah, I think I read that somewhere where they're doing the same thing as other manufacturers. Whatever they got orders for, that's all they build. And if it doesn't meet the maximum or the minimum amount of quality, they don't make it.
Yeah, I always wanted one of their triplexes. I thought those were super cool.
Yeah,
I actually saw one of those in person for the first time here a couple of weeks ago. One of my friends picked one of those up. Those are a kind of really neat locomotive.
I love their sound. I had the Daylight, the GS4, is it called? And the sound is just incredible on those. They had great sound. I hated the control system. That part sucked. But when they worked, the sound was great.
Yeah, that was the one thing that was kind of an odd. I mean, in the O gauge world, it's not really that big of an oddity, but in G scale, the way they did it was a little bit kind of weird, at least for what we're used to, especially with everybody mainly doing radio control. What's Ted got up here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have smaller wheels on those axles for the SD40. The SD40 would also work better for the DD40X too, but I couldn't find a good supply of them. So they would be more prototypical with a DD with the axles from the SD40, but SD70 is what I could find. So
I'll give people another moment here to put in their hashtag hoodies if they'd like to enter to win a free hoodie, and then we'll do the drawing for that.
I wonder if it'll get ripped out of Nico's hands again this time.
He got robbed last time, I know.
Do you know? Have you ever heard of Northwest Shortline? The guys that make the gear.
Yeah.
Are they still making gears? I thought they got bought by somebody, or they went.
I believe it was an employee or employees bought it. I thought.
Yeah, I remember they got bought.
As far as I know, they are making stuff again. Let me take a look here real quick.
So that's why I made this gear with the hex hole in it, the worm gear from the Dash 9s, because I could get the other gear from them, and then they went out, they stopped making them out of the Delarin, and they could never make this gear because you can't machine it, I guess, because of the hex hole. And so I 3D printed them, and then I was worried they were going to go out and we wouldn't be able to get the other gear too.
Yeah, I just pulled up their website, nwsl.com. So it looks like they are still making stuff now. Like I said, I know they had closed up, and I think it was like an employee bought it or something along those lines.
Nice. Good.
Because I think they were the ones that were making the motor blocks for all the custom stuff, the custom 132 stuff years ago.
Yeah. I think they did like the motor blocks for like the Great Trains locomotives and that, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did the drives for them.
Yeah, it was one of them.
All right, so let's see here. We'll go ahead and do the giveaway for the hoodie here and see if Nico gets robbed again or not. Nico's always getting robbed. Let's see. Let me share.
Nico's always getting robbed.
Let me share the screen here so Nico can see if he gets robbed. Give me 1 second here.
John wants to know if you can send info of your battery car.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Where should I send it? Can I put it on? Oh, let's see.
Where did that go?
Andrew robbed my heart.
Hey, I guess that works. All right, so let's see who it's gonna be.
All right.
Oh, Ted Descaris. Nico got robbed again. Congratulations, Ted, though.
Nico got robbed again.
Ted Descaris, you are our winner. I believe you have my email already, Ted. just shoot me an email with your name and address, what size and what color hoodie you want, and I'll get it out to you. I guess would probably help. If you look in the description, you'll see the merch store in there. But if you go to merch.mrpictovid.com, Ted, you can take a look and see what ones are offered. There's zip-up hoodies, and there are also pullover hoodies. So just let me know which one, color, and size you want, and I will get that out to you.
Nice. I'm gonna have to get some stuff too.
Yeah, Teespring makes it pretty easy to. I mean, they don't charge you anything to host the store or anything. They basically just, when you sell something, they take a percentage of it.
Really nice. Yeah, my site's like $35 a month, no matter what. So
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have it, because I don't sell millions of T-shirts or anything. I mean, so someone buys a shirt, I don't have to do anything. They print it, ship it, off it goes.
well, that's pretty cool.
Now, I don't know. Have you been keeping up with your Teespring store, Sean? I know you were putting a bunch of different designs up at one time. I've been kind of behind on mine. So, all right. Is there anything else that we forgot to talk about before we wrap up?
Cover the switches. Talked your guys' ears off about 3D printed everything, so I guess that's it.
Yeah, I was just looking real quick at my show description to see if there's something I didn't think about, but no, I think we went through everything. I mean, definitely, I encourage everybody to check out your YouTube channel, Jonathan. I mean, you have a lot of good content on there for G-Scale related stuff. Once again, the links for Jonathan's YouTube channel, his Shopify is what you use, right? Your Shopify store for your 3D printed parts and that. All of that's in the description, as well as links for the parts that you used for the air operated switches.
Yeah, I think the whole thing probably $120 with the solenoids and the relay. Depending on how many switches you add, it can go more than that. But yeah, it's pretty cost effective. So.
And Ted asks, "How did that happen?" It's easy. Nico got robbed. No. I see Kyle was asking here. I mean, if you take a look at the links in there, but I don't know, rough idea how much would you have in doing, like, say 4 switches to do air operated parts? So
the pneumatic cylinders are like $20 a piece. So, which are these guys here. So those guys are $20, and then I think the control unit was like 30, and the fuse blocks like 20. So, and the solenoids are like 30. So, yeah, it adds up, but it's like $150 to $200 for 4 switches.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
No, that's not too bad, and you can expand it up to 16. So for an extra $50 a switch, roughly, you can expand it up to 16. So about $200, and then probably $50 a switch after that, because it's a solenoid and one of these pneumatic actuators per switch. So, yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, and they'll run as big of a switch as you want, and they'll run in the snow and the rain. They don't care. They'll shove a car off the track if you have one on there and you try and throw it. So.
Andrew knows all about shoving cars off the track.
Yeah,
that happens.
It does. It's painful. It's like,
yeah,
I'm gonna dive. No. Yeah, I ran an E8 off a track off the end of a shelf once. That was really cool.
Whoops.
Yeah, I made me want to cry. Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Slide Cat saying, "Don't forget the air." Alcohol in the winter. Oh, I imagine Probably don't have to worry too
Condensation.
much about freezing up, I imagine. Yeah, that could be an issue.
Yeah. You
Imagine
do want to put a
alcohol to
little
keep
bit of
lines dry.
oil in them. Like if you know that oil you use for air tools, put some of that
Yeah.
in these guys too. It'll help. So
Yeah, you can probably do the same thing as trucks do. Just put an air dryer system on it.
yeah, that's what I do. There's like a $30 one on Amazon that's also a pressure regulator and an air dryer. I definitely recommend that too.
Yeah,
Link in the description too. And then keep the air out of the system helps a lot. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. It's fun to share this stuff with somebody. There's nobody in Pocatello that does this. Well, one other guy, but yeah, it's pretty smaller and smaller hobby every day. So I'm happy to have guys to share it with.
No, we're happy you came on and shared with everybody. I think everybody found it very informational.
Good. I hope that I can help people. I've got a website, email me on there if you want any information on stuff we talked about, and I'm happy to share my files. And yeah, if you guys want your own, I'm happy to walk you through it or help you pick out a machine. Just send me an email and I'll help you out.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Well, let's see. 2 weeks will be our next show on Dakman's channel. Our guest is going to be a friend of mine, Mike Zader, and he's going to do some stuff on making custom loads for flat cars, gondolas, stuff like that. He actually comes up with a lot of neat ideas for car loads and that. Is there anything that you needed to add, Sean?
No, you guys pretty much nailed it. And went over everything, and our next guest for next time around.
Yeah.
So that being said, we'll say goodnight to everybody.
All right. Just hang around for 1 second after we end, Jonathan, if you could.
Oh, good.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Thanks,
have
guys.
a good
Good night, everyone.
night, and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
guys next show. Glad to have you aboard.